All right, folks, welcome. It's been a while since I've done a update video on Dwarf Fortress. If you haven't seen these before, I got the request to maybe start doing them up again. It's basically just look at the past month's updates for Dwarf Fortress, kind of go through it real quick, giving my impressions and what I'm looking forward to. As always, I highly recommend you just go and read it yourself because there's going to be a lot more information there than I can cover, and you'll get more detail as well. Plus, I don't know, it's entertaining. So that's at bay12.com/dwarfs. You can see that at the top of the screen, in the description, all sorts of places. So let's get started. So at the beginning of July, since that was the previous month, we got a new version. It's just a small bug fix version. Really nothing all that big on here that affected anything that I had done recently. So not really big, anything really to go over there, unlike the previous kind of bug fix that had come out. Tony also did an interview. You may want to go watch that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm eventually I'll get around to it. I usually enjoy his interviews quite a lot. And then the main thing for the rest of the video and the month here was talking about the villain system and kind of the espionage system that they're going to incorporate into the game. Who knows how long that's going to take? This may be another one of those fairly long stretches of time before we get a new version, but it sounds pretty interesting. So, and then just real quick, on top of that, he's also been working on mounts and pets for adventure mode, which I think will be pretty cool. So it's kind of, starting to flesh some stuff out. And the villain stuff will be available in adventure mode as well. So, and really all the details for this comes in this post on the 21st of July. So basically saying, the nice thing about this that'll speed it along a little bit is they already have the villains they need in the game. They got demons, necromancers, vampires, bandits, criminals, ambitious, cruel people, just all sorts of people in different positions and stuff like that. So especially in your fortresses, you may find someone who is very ambitious, wants to hold a high title or position, and will start scheming around that. Or maybe they're just, power corrupts, right? Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. So they're working on essentially making sure that it works all right and world generation doesn't get out of hand. And then really focusing on the networking and how these different citizens talk to each other, and these essentially these sorts of schemes fall into place. I mean, we're getting something I've been looking for, maybe even without really realizing it, but no, I have. For a while, which is essentially CK2 espionage inside of Dwarf Fortress. So sometimes these will be visitors that come from outside your fortress. Sometimes they'll be people in your fortress, but someone from the outside of the fortress can end up compromising one of your dwarfs, who then goes on to do their bidding. One of the interesting things, it was a bit further down, skip a tiny bit there, but for individuals, basically determining on what their areas of weakness. And actually, that's probably a bit further down, but it's based on their personality traits and stuff as well. So he mentions that it could be just maybe a character is greedy. So if he's offered an artifact, or maybe an artifact he lost or something, but if he's offered something that he's interested in, he's going to be much more likely to join the plot. But they're also trying to work on doing blackmail, it seems. So someone could threaten one of the dwarf's family members, and if the dwarf is, not very courageous, if that instills a lot of fear in him, then he'll also be motivated to join the plot. So let's go down a bit more. That's it. That's where he's talking about that and the levers here. Also talking about, making sure that your fortress doesn't just get destroyed because of all the high level position holders that get turned against you, or you got to assume it's against the player pretty much. So essentially they're going to use, they already have and this is a bit further down as well, but they already have the kind of being able to report suspicious activities and such from the vampires that were added in. So if people see something kind of weird, and they may report it. So there's already kind of a very simple way for you to start finding out, about these different plots and stuff that are happening in your fortress. And once you maybe have an idea about something, or you find someone, you can essentially interrogate them. You can have them arrested, and if you accuse them correctly, then you will also learn more information about the plot, essentially whatever they know. So it's not just, find one person in the plot and the plot's busted wide open. They may not know a whole lot about it. Just, oh no, he just told me to get this one thing because, otherwise he's going to kill my wife. I have no idea what he wanted it for. Maybe something like that. So I think that's pretty neat. You're going to have to also provide some sort of evidence, and right now he says that just consists of guessing correctly. But I could see this being pretty fleshed out and really, much like Dwarf Fortress, a game within a game. So let's see, is there anything else, just pure update wise, to mention? Talked about arresting dwarves. Now, if you get it wrong, or you just apparently just arrest someone and never try to accuse them or convict them of anything, then that will cause the dwarves in the fortress to get quite upset. So you can't just go around willy-nilly accusing people of that sort of stuff. Okay. I think that's about it for the fortress mode intrigue kind of stuff. And got a little bit about adventure mode. As you know, right now, all you can really do is say, hey, you're a night creature. I don't even know if that does anything anywhere. I remember one of my playthroughs a very long time ago where I was pretty sure I found a night creature and accused them of being a night creature. And they're like, oh, what? Me? No. How dare you? So who knows? But yeah, so obviously they're going to work on integrating all that into adventure mode. But and it says, maybe you have to become more of a hero and be more interesting before people will talk to you, or there'll be anything that really has anything to do with you. But the interesting thing is, and kind of this last paragraph here, is why not let the adventurer be a villain and do this sort of stuff, which I imagine a lot of people would like to do. I know I'd be interested in doing a playthrough or many of that, just to see what you can do with it. So, and then at the very end, it's now just remains to see what they can get done. Of course, that's, if you follow Dwarf Fortress development at any point, the game's been developed for essentially about 15 years now, I think. Yeah, sometimes it's spurts, and sometimes you end up waiting quite a while. But I am quite interested in this. I've been saying for a while, especially since I started playing Cataclysm, that I'm really itching for adventure mode to get fleshed out. Not that it doesn't have much to do in it. There's plenty to do and can definitely be entertaining. Of course, I've played quite a bit of it and put the videos up and stuff. So, but it's just, after playing Cataclysm and some other games where I can see, like, man, if Dwarf Fortress had these systems in adventure mode, it would be amazing. I've been really excited for Toady to just work on it a bit, to flesh it out more, because he's the best at doing these deep systems, the way things interact behind the scenes, this emergent narrative kind of engine that I really want him to work on it so we can see what amazing stuff we can get. Dwarf Fortress continues to surprise me very positively when I play it and with the updates and such. So, Yeah, so that's basically about it. I kind of peppered all my feelings on the subject in there during the thing, but I am pretty excited for it in Fortress mode as well. I can see how it's gonna make things particularly more interesting, where you don't have to rely just on wild animals or were lizards. How much I hate were lizards, or goblin attacks, or titans, or whatever. If you don't want to play that way, if you don't want to play the military game, essentially, there'll still be plenty of interesting things that can happen to cause capital FUN fun, which is why I think a lot of people play Dwarf Fortress. So there you go. As always, I haven't looked at it yet, but he did put up the monthly report and the future of the fortress. There's actually 2 posts, 2 pages worth of that. And if you've never seen one of these before, essentially, people just write all their questions about what's going to happen in the future, or how does this mechanic work, or is this a bug, or whatever, and they ask it over the month, and then he takes every single question, unless it's like a simple question that was answered by someone else in the thread, and gives, as you can see, quite a quite a robust response. So if you're curious for kind of behind the scenes, what's coming up that he hasn't really announced or anything like that, or just more detail on things like the myth system, which there's a lot of questions about that in there, magic system, those sorts of questions, then this is a great thing to peruse. It can take a while to read it. There is quite a lot. I'll just kind of quickly scroll through. That's probably been about a dozen questions so far with pretty long responses. This has probably been about another dozen. It's probably, I don't know, it's looking like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was up to like 50 questions or so. With responses I would never expect anyone to to give as a developer who also has a game to work on and other stuff to do. I imagine this takes him most of a day to do. And then last but not least, there'll be a link in the description as well. But if you enjoy Dwarf Fortress, then you can support Dwarf Fortress, where champions kind of cover some of that stuff. But oh, come on, I don't know. Well, shucks. Let's see. If we click on champions, will that show it? No, these are just the names of some. But essentially, you can... here we go. Of course, it's over here. So you can get a crown drawing. I have one that's been a thumbnail before on some of my videos. Or a three-toe story as a reward. Or you can just give out of the goodness of your heart. Of course, who could turn down getting some awesome crown drawing by Zach and Tarn? So, if you like the game, it's been free for a long time. He subsists only on donations between there and his Patreon. And I guess real quick, we can look at the monthly report. So it just gives you a breakdown of what the donations have been over the past few months. And it's just the level of transparency to me is pretty impressive. But there you go. Let me know if you are enjoying these, if it's something you'd like to see me continue to do again, or if you have any suggestions on ways to improve it. I enjoy kind of doing it anyways. I try to read at least once a month everything that's been going on, but I really don't mind putting out a video for those of you who prefer to listen. I have more of a discussion, kind of one-way discussion about it than read it. That's perfectly fine. I'll be happy to provide that service. So thanks for listening, folks. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.